Thanks for joining InvestorStream for the first time. I understand this is a pretty significant development for ADX Energy. Can you explain how you plan to develop this hydrogen play and how is that being undertaken alongside the growth and development of your other conventional hydrocarbon assets?
Yes, certainly. Thanks, Alex. It's a pleasure to be on InvestorStream. Look, we see hydrogen as a logical extension to our oil and gas business. This is not, like a greenwashing exercise or a way of pivoting. In actual fact, there's a lot of compatibility between our assets and green energy production and also carbon minimisation technologies. So essentially what we're doing is redeploying reservoirs that already exist in our producing fields at our Vienna Basin assets that we purchased in December 2019. And so what we're doing is utilising depleted reservoirs to be able to store green energy. In this case, it'll be hydrogen. So it's quite a unique situation that we have in the Vienna Basin. First of all, there's the largest availability of wind power is around us and on top of us, on top of our fields. Secondly, the reservoirs are depleted and they're within our existing fields, and these are reservoirs that have safely held, methane for millions and millions of years. Thirdly, we actually own the land on top of the field, so we can actually redeploy other assets like electrolyzers. And last of all, we also have very good pipeline infrastructure. And what's unique in Europe now is that you're allowed to put 5% hydrogen into existing pipelines for methane, and they're going to take that up to 10%. So we've got the source of energy, we've got a place to store it, and we've got access to be able to sell it. And we're already getting some interest, from potential purchasers of hydrogen who may want to be involved in the business. What we're looking to do now is to basically get into collaboration with the major wind farm operators to be able to utilise that green energy for the creation of hydrogen. The rest is already there. On top of that, you've got a very supportive government in Austria. They're looking to increase the amount of renewable energy by about sixfold. So that'll just create more opportunity, for green energy that we can store.
Before we get onto hydrogen, many of our listeners will be new to the ADX story. Can you give us a quick update on your asset position in Austria and what you're doing in terms of growing and developing your oil and gas assets, and where's the opportunity for you?
Yeah, look, first of all, people that don't know Austria, and most people don't, actually Austria is actually a world-class oil and gas province. It's produced over 1 billion barrels of oil and 3 TCF of gas. It's about equivalent to the oil and gas that's been produced from our most successful basin, the Gippsland Basin. So there's a lot of oil and gas there. There's a lot of oil and gas yet to be discovered, we believe, but it's been dominated by two companies, OMV and a company called RAG, which was basically a private joint venture between Mobil and Shell. So what we've been able to do there now is become only the second operator of exploration and only the third operator for production in a country with extensive infrastructure and really good opportunity. So initially we bought a little producing asset that's been around for a while, but it's producing very reliably, very low emissions, and it was producing around 290, 300 barrels a day when we bought it. It was late 2019. Unfortunately, we ran into COVID, which was a little bit painful for us, but we got through that. And throughout the COVID period, we never had to shut in. So it's a very efficient operation. More recently, we've been able to do some work on some of the existing wells and increase production to around over 400 barrels a day, actually, which is about a 25-30% increase in production. And so that's come at the right time with also, a substantial increase in oil price. So that little field is where we're looking to also deploy our hydrogen project. So basically you've got all the infrastructure already there and we've got all the skills, we operate the field. So it's a very easy transition for us. In January this year, we also announced that we were going to the other side of the country, closer to Germany. It's an area called Upper Austria, or the Vienna Basin. And we've been able to secure a very nice acreage position, and that's around RAG's remaining oil and gas production assets. So what we were able to do is utilise RAG's historical database, which is probably 100 million euros of seismic data and well data. They've got out of exploration because they've been taken out by gas utilities, and we've basically come in. So we've utilised their data. We've picked up a very nice licence, well, actually 2 licences, and in those licences we've got 10 prospects that are ready to drill, which have about 52 million barrels of prospective resource. And the good thing is, within picking up these licences, we've got all the data, we've got the prospects, and we can start drilling straight away. This basin's had a historical success rate of around 50%, which is exceptional for exploration. We've also managed to sign access agreements with RAG. So if we discover something, we gain immediate access to infrastructure. So the good thing about this is we've got prospects ready to drill. They can be drilled very soon. If we're successful, we can convert, if you like, drilling to cash flow in a very short time period. So it's been a very busy period for us. In that area, we're also working on a geothermal project, which we won't talk about now, but it's something we'll be able to discuss in the future. And we're also looking for other strategic opportunities also to further build our production position. So if you like, the hydrogen project fits in very well with this, strategic opportunity that we've been able to get into in Austria.
Now, flipping back onto hydrogen now, I've read that Europe has emerged as a clear leader in terms of government policy support in the sector, and understand that the EU is planning to invest hundreds of billions of dollars into hydrogen production and infrastructure. I guess the flow-on effect from that is ADX is an obvious beneficiary of that support. Can you take us through what the near-term work plan is in terms of developing this hydrogen play?
Yes, certainly. I mean, what we announced today was the initiation of a 1 megawatt electrolyser and storage project. So it's basically a pilot project in our Vienna Basin fields. So what we're looking to do and what we're working on now, having done some pre-feasibility work with a world-class strategic partner called Horvath & Partners, who've got a lot of experience in the hydrogen industry, is take that process of renewable energy, convert it into hydrogen, stored in reservoirs, and then put into local pipeline infrastructure to the next level. And to do that, what we want to do is form partnerships with the green power operators, which are all the big wind power operators that exist in and around us. What's important to understand, Alex, Europe is very different to Australia. In winter, you've got an abundance of demand for energy and insufficient energy to supply it. It's also a time when solar doesn't work so well. Quite often, wind's not working. So there's a very high reliance on gas and coal. In summer, however, there's lots of wind. There's lots of solar energy. However, there's not so much demand. So that's a time we can actually get cheap power and convert it into hydrogen, store it, and then sell it at a much higher price in winter. So there's a lot of commercial logic to this. It really makes a lot of sense.
And just finally, Ian, what are the near-term value drivers that we should be keeping an eye out for over the next few months?
Yeah, well, obviously, we've talked about wind power and we've talked about hydrogen. So hopefully we're going to come up with a strategic partnership there. And then once we've done that, we've moved into that pilot project, we can also announce how we could transform that project from something that is 1 megawatt to 100 megawatts, where you'd actually start to create a hydrogen ecosystem. And that's what we try to explain, in great detail in the presentation that we released today. In Upper Austria, we're working on farm out. So the intention there is to bring in some partners as well, because we hold all that acreage at 100%. So we're looking to bring in partnerships and with the intention of drilling in the second half of this year. We've also looking at additional green energy initiatives, more in the geothermal space. We've also been working in our existing field where we see further reserves upside. So that would involve the drilling of production wells to further enhance production. So we see a lot of opportunity there in the existing wells for behind pipe reserves that we can already access, but also to drill new wells to increase production and reserves. And then finally, we're also looking at expanding our exploration footprint to take in more geothermal opportunities, more oil and gas exploration opportunities, and also some brownfield opportunities, and hopefully also increasing our level of production through further acquisitions. It's about progressing our green energy initiatives in conjunction with increasing oil and gas revenues.
Fantastic, Ian. Really appreciate you jumping on to chat through ADX, and we look forward to seeing how things progress over the coming months. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Alex. It's been a pleasure.